Camera's a little dusty. I haven't used this thing for a while. I've missed you guys. And since the last video, I got the Tucson fixed and got rid of the deer fur. Princess turned 33. Kai's been getting really good at scootering. And you saved the snails. Saw Peter for the first time in like 5 months, which was great. He gave me this knife, and I kid you not, within like 5 seconds, I was trying to open it, and then I sliced my thumb. I was bleeding everywhere. Went to the cottage and just destroyed a whole bunch of insects. It looks like I used Biore blackhead strip. Ugh. We found out the sex of the baby. It's still running. Got this new sign for when we're not doing the podcast. And most importantly, I've been learning, listening, and having tons of conversations on how to make this earth a better place for everybody. And no matter what you believe or what your background is, I hope we can all agree that that's what we want to do with our lives, is make this earth a better place for everybody. I can honestly say I've missed you guys. I've been really enjoying making these vlogs for you guys. So we're gonna come back. Vlogs are back. Daily vlogs every weekday. So if you like them, subscribe. I appreciate it. Missed you. So some of you have been wondering, and maybe you're wondering, did I actually switch over to Final Cut Pro 10 from Premiere Pro? And I've been giving it a real shot. I've wanted to learn everything I can and get all my presets and everything so that I could use Final Cut like I use Premiere Pro. And so far, there's a few things that I really like about Final Cut, but there's one big reason that makes a really big difference for me, and it's one of the things that I've always just been so frustrated with when it comes to using Premiere Pro. So let's go through a few things that I like about Final Cut, and the first one is the price. Final Cut costs $299, and that's it. You just pay that once and you're good to go. Whereas Premiere Pro costs $239 a year, or for me, I get the whole Adobe Creative Cloud subscription, all the apps, and it costs $600 a year. And I've been doing YouTube for like almost 4 years now, so that's like $2,400, and I've been using Premiere Pro for I don't even know how many years. I've spent a lot of money on Adobe Premiere Pro. So that's the first big reason to like Final Cut. It also makes it much easier to recommend to people that are starting out in video. Maybe you're starting out, having to pay $60 a month or something around there versus just that one-time $300. This next one might not sound like that big of a deal, but it is if you use it a lot, and that's speed ramping. Speed ramping's basically if you want to go from, let's say, normal speed to slow motion in a smooth way instead of just kind of hitting all of a sudden. And it just works way nicer in Final Cut. The end result is way more smooth and just looks way better. And yeah, in Premiere Pro, you can kind of like, you can adjust how fast it goes from one to the other, but it just doesn't look this smooth. I don't know what Final Cut is doing, but it just looks much better. And then we get to the big reason, and that is colors. So in Premiere Pro, when you edit your video and then you go to color grade it and you're like, oh, this looks great, you export it, the export looks completely different in terms of colors than what you had inside of Premiere Pro. Let me show you real quick. Okay, here's an example. Here's what I've color graded, I've edited inside of Premiere Pro, and then when I go to export it, this is what it looks like. The colors are completely different. There's way more saturation here than here. The contrast is less than here. It looks completely different. Okay, maybe some people wouldn't notice the difference, but to me, it drives me wild when I've spent so much time color grading and then it looks completely different when I go to export. Whereas in Final Cut, okay, check this out. So here's what I've edited in Final Cut. I'll full screen that. And then I've exported it, and that's the export. Inside Final Cut, export. Let's put them side by side here. Okay, I have them side by side here. This is inside Final Cut, and this is the export. And like, I can't tell any difference maybe there's a tiny, no, I honestly, I can't see any difference between the two. So that's a big one for me. Like that, when I realized that Final Cut doesn't have any difference between what I've color graded and what I export, yeah, that's a reason to switch over to Final Cut for me, at least. That's a big reason. Now, at first when I was using Final Cut, I was like, man, this is so much faster. Like, it's just zippy. No matter what effects I put on there, it plays super smoothly. All my color grade and all my sound. I used a bunch of sound plugins as a preset. Actually, you can buy them on my site. And it just kind of does all the work for me for sound. And every time I've used that, it just like slows down so much in Premiere. But then I was testing it, and it's actually not the Premiere plugins. It's the combination of Colorista, which is a color grading or color correcting plugin, and then those other plugins inside of Premiere. So now when I took away Colorista, it's actually really smooth in Premiere, and a lot of the issues that I've been having aren't happening anymore. So I have a feeling, sorry Adobe, sorry Premiere, I apologize. Some of the issues that I've been having are because of Colorista, not because of Premiere. And there's some things inside of Final Cut that are a little bit harder for me to get used to. For example, the magnetic timeline. So if you're not familiar, the way that the timeline works is very different inside of Final Cut. If you delete something, it automatically kind of like magnetizes together, it sticks together. It's hard to get used to. I'm still not sure, once I get fully used to it, am I gonna like it more or less than just having the linear edit, instead of just having like a non-magnetic linear timeline like in Premiere Pro. And then for me, the UI feels a little bit weird at times. I just feel like there's a lot of windows to go through, but maybe that's just, me getting used to it. But I will say, I'm very impressed. Final Cut Pro 10 has come a long way since I last used it, like for real used it. There's so many things where I'm like, oh, but Final Cut doesn't have this, and I'm like, oh, wait, it does. And then I'm like, nope, but Premiere has this, and then I'm like, oh, wait. Yeah, Final Cut has that too. After using both of them, I honestly don't know which I would recommend more. I think the only real difference is if you used After Effects a lot for motion graphics and that sort of stuff. That might be the reason to use Premiere Pro, and that's kind of been my reasoning for why I've stuck with Premiere Pro for so long, is that I love the integration with After Effects. But I don't know, is it enough? Because I don't use it that much. So like, is it enough for me? I don't know, I'm curious. I'm still not decided. I'm gonna keep using Final Cut. I think I'm gonna try to edit this vlog completely on Final Cut. We'll see how that goes. I honestly have no idea which I'm gonna be using 6 months from now. If you wanna take a guess in the comments. It's a 50-50 shot. There's a good chance you'll be right. There's a good chance you'll be wrong. But I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to keep learning, and that's the only way I'm going to find out which is better for me. And then I'll tell you guys more of my findings once I make a final decision. I've also finally started this setup right here because I've finally started filming my next course. It's gonna be on how to be a YouTuber, how to become a YouTuber, how to start a channel, and how to make it grow. It's something that I've been working on for literally a couple years. Like, that's when I started writing the script first. And I feel like I need to finish it because I wanna give more people the tools to basically do what I've been able to do with YouTube. I think it's so worth it, and I just want to see more people utilizing YouTube. So if you have any questions about YouTube, how to build a channel, how to make it grow, all that stuff, leave some questions in the comments, and I'll try to incorporate those. Even if it's just like a Q&A inside the course, I'll try to incorporate those. This light is really great. I mean, it's a softbox. It's a massive, massive softbox. Now it's time to head home, and I know there's one little guy that you guys have all been missing. Kai!
And then you back?
Yeah, I was at the office. Kai, do you want to say hi to everybody? Oh, thank you for the pizza.
You're welcome.
Do you want to say hi to everybody? I think they've missed you.
Hi.
Say, how are you?
How are you? Hi, Squeeze. There's it.
Homemade ice cream for Kai Kai.
Homemade ice cream.
You want to try? It's probably pretty hard. Oh, I don't know if we can get it yet. Might have to wait.
We can try.
We can try. That's true. Oh, it's a little hard still. Okay, let's try to get a little bit for you. You're like a seagull that swoops in every time I get one. Just stealing. You're a thief. Just best friends on a nice evening skateboard scooter ride, right, buddy?
Yeah. Oh, a tree.
These times are very important. And spending time together?
That's important.
Yeah. It's really nice, right? These are the times you gotta really cherish, because I know they're gonna go real fast. It's not gonna be that small for long. What's the holdup? Oh, you found a snail.
Yeah, I'm going to save him there.
Oh, good job. High five, saving the snails. All right, see you guys tomorrow. First whole video edited in Final Cut Pro.